What's up, y'all? It's DJ D Sharp, and I'm sitting here with the world's greatest DJ, and it's real official, man. My boy Z Trip. What's up, Z Trip?
I'm good,
How
man.
you doing, man?
I'm good.
So
I'm sitting next to the world's greatest. He's just
this guy, man. You rocking Mighty tonight?
Yeah, me and Shortcut tonight at Mighty. It's his birthday, and it's been I want to say even over a year since I played in the Bay. So I'm excited. Sold out show. It's gonna be super fun tonight.
Tell me something, man. A lot of people probably want to know this. Like, what was it that was the pinpoint to your big break to get you here?
It was a lot of little things. I mean, a big turning point was the mix CD I did with DJP, which was on Easy Listening. That definitely turned a lot of heads, but it's not like we just put that out and that sort of took a hold with people. It was all the leading up to that, which a huge part of that is actually from the Bay.
Right.
It's David Paul was the first guy who ever put me on a record, which is Return of the DJ, and I did the first 3 in that series. And then I got down with Mark Hurley, who put out the Future Primitive CDs, and those were 2 extremely underground CDs that actually built a lot of momentum for me. So when I was able to put out Uneasy Listening with DJP, that it sort of fell into place. It was sort of like the third of a couple things that were sort of going on. But for me, I mean, being back here, being in San Francisco is huge, because San Francisco to me was a huge spot of where I cut my teeth. You know, I did a lot of work in Arizona, and will always give that place props, but one of the first places that continuously brought me out was the Bay. I think I'm more excited than any fan or anybody could be, because this is like, I'm back, you know? I love it here.
You're coined as the godfather of the mashup.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a genre now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you feel about where the genre is going?
Well, you know, the thing is, I'm just happy that it opened up some people's minds. You know, and I got to even take a step back and say, like, I wasn't the guy who invented this by any means. Now, in this day and age, I think it's kind of interesting the way people have sort of gravitated towards it, and it's sort of become part of the repertoire, which I was really happy to see, like, other DJs just incorporating new music. It wasn't even about the mashup, it was just about expanding what you're playing into a crowd, because most people at the time, it was like, you know, cats were just playing hip-hop in a hip-hop club, and they weren't playing any rock or any other shit. So the fact that it opened up some doors for people to go down different roads, to me, is great. And I'm actually happy that I was able to be one of the faces, you know, attached to that movement of just breaking down barriers, really.
You have a residency at the Palms.
Right.
Z-Trip's Revolution.
Right.
So, you know, Vegas, I mean, when I think Vegas, I automatically go, you know, the bottle poppers, the douchebags,
there's
you know, all of that
stuff.
stuff. And a DJ like you, I mean, you open up a lot of people to a lot of different great music. And I know at a format like that, it has to be difficult.
It's super difficult because Vegas wants what it wants. You know, I mean, people go to Vegas to hear a certain, whether they know it or not, they go there to hear a certain sound. Right. It's like, I'm going to Vegas, I'm going to party, I'm going to drink. It's like, party. Sonically, musically, you have to reel back a little bit. So when I play there, I'm not really doing as much cutting edge stuff as I would say tonight, because the crowd there is a little bit more mainstream. To me, a gig tonight is bigger and more important than any show I played in Vegas. You know, and I'll go on the record in saying that this is where I thrive. This is what I love. I mean, totally. Me messing around with Shortcut today, like on some
dope.
You know, working out some little bits and pieces is really the most fun, because this is the most nitty-gritty, raw, real shit. If you try and come to something like this, and you try and play in front of a crowd of people who they don't want to, it's the complete opposite.
Complete opposite. They don't want to hear Gaga. They don't want to hear Trey Songz. They don't want to hear any of that.
And when you play real raw shit here, it allows you to sort of go down those roads and touch on nerves and do stuff that is that feeds the soul, man. Like I've been more gassed up about this show than like a lot of other shows, because I'm like, this is, you know, I'm coming back to a real spot. It's like coming home.
With technology, MP3s, waves, and all of this stuff, do you still dig? I know you were an avid digger.
I still dig. I mean, it's funny because digging for vinyl now is actually kind of interesting, because before, right sort of leading up till around where Serato hit, and people went digital, you would have a hard time finding certain things. And you know, I was digging before I think a lot of people were digging, so I was able to find a lot of that stuff. But there was a moment where it's like everyone was digging, you know?
Right,
and you would go to like record fairs, you would be competing with the British, the Japanese, whatever. You'd see all these like international people just like digging for the same records. But I'll always dig, man. I love digging. And it's also, on top of just finding all the good stuff and it being a good time, it's extremely therapeutic to me as a person.
Me too. I find digging very therapeutic.
I'll lose myself. If I'm having a bad day, you know, I might, if I have that day, it's very rare I get a whole day, but I may burn one, go to a record store and get lost for 6 hours and find all these records and spend maybe $200, but come back with a stack of shit that, you know, that is like all Paramount, Primo, dope, and that just goes into my repertoire. And so the backlog of shit I need to be ripping to digital is like, you know, I needed 2 or 3 years just to get caught up. You know how it is.
I know how it is, man.
But it's a good time to dig, and I'm always a fan. I'll always be digging.
You know, the internet is huge. Where
Sure.
can they hit you at?
DJZtrip.com is my website I've had for years. You can download stuff there for free. Facebook, DJZtrip, Twitter, you can find me there. I mean, for the most part, I'm around. I mean, I think in this day and age, most people can find people. All you gotta do is just sort of Google me.
He's Googleable.
Yeah, Googleable.
Googleable, yeah. Well, cool, man. Thanks a lot for
Of
your
course,
time,
man.
dude. You know,
thank you for coming out, man.
man,
I
it's
know.
not a problem, man. This guy is seriously my favorite DJ
Shit.
of all time. So,
Thanks, man.
it's an honor,
He's
man.
one of my favorites. This guy, you need
It's-
to Google this cat. He's Googleable.
It's an honor, man. So,
Thanks, man.
rock it tonight. I know you're gonna do that. And
Thanks, man.
yo, sharp state of mind. You know, you already know you're rocking with the best. It's